Good morning to you, Peter. Good morning, David. I'm in my 70s. I've never known a government show such negativity from day one. I would agree. The whole lot of them are inexperienced, they're delusional, they're ultimately dangerous for the future of this country. I have no doubt that at the end of their tenure, the country will be in an awful state. I mean, that's the big question for me. How long can this government last?
Well, Peter is bang on. Practically every point he's just made there, we actually have discussed. And how do you get rid of a government? How do you do it?
Unless there's a vote of no confidence or something extraordinary happens. But that brings me rather nicely to the polls. There is a new poll out which shows that Reform has topped this national poll for the first time. This is in the wake of the Southport sentencing. Nigel Farage's party, which obviously has accused Keir Starmer of being part of a cover-up, now leads Labour and the Tories. Let's have a look at that poll. Here it is. Reform... this is on 26, as you can see from that graphic. Tory party comes second on 23. Labour is on 22. The Lib Dems on 12. That is a meteoric rise for Reform UK. When you then put that into context of the number of seats, and I think we have that graphic as well, this will show you how the map of the United Kingdom changes. Look at that. So, Reform is in the light blue, Conservatives is in the dark blue. Sways, remember, of course, they've only got, they got 4 million votes, 5 MPs, and this means that Reform goes from 5 MPs up to, wait for this, 190 MPs, based on the latest polling data. Of course, there are going to be local elections in May. That is, of course, if they're allowed, because Angela Rayner may well stop all of those. What do you make of the polling?
I'm not actually surprised. I'm really not. I did say that Labour's loss wouldn't be a Conservative gain. The blue would change to Reform blue.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely...
I'm right.
So many people are saying the Conservative Party in abject sort of horror about this. Kemi Badenoch gave her party political broadcast where she essentially said it was our fault and we need to change. I don't see any policies from the Conservatives, and yet the Conservatives are saying, oh, and I've got friends who messaged me. In fact, one of them messaged me yesterday saying the answer is to unite the right, for Reform and the Tories to come together. There is no way that Reform would do that. Lord Frost, the Tory peer, says we must be open to forming a pact with Reform.
Look, I am no fan of Reform.
I know
I'll just say, and I don't think they've not articulated any policy. I think Farage is one of the best politicians in terms of politics, being the absolute epitome of a great orator. You know, he can charm people, he can read rooms. We were talking earlier about this government not having that ability, but Farage can. But when he is pushed on the minutiae, it isn't there. And a lot of the rhetoric as well from the Reform Party, I think, is a bit overarching.
Okay, let me push back. Let me push back on that.
I just wanted to bring in one other thing. You mentioned at the start of your show, 1981, this day in history.
Yes.
The SDP set up. I actually think William Clouston, or Colston, his name, who is the current head of the SDP, I think the SDP is the way to go in terms of common sense, centre ground, trying to get things done.
I think it's worth saying that Reform had a pact with SDP.
Did they?
Yeah, they did in the last elections, or the elections before that. I know William Clouston well. I like him. I think he's a very cogent. You know, he speaks very frankly. I think he has some good policies as well.
And they're very pro-farming.
I just want to push you on the Reform policy stuff, because I do think that they have. I mean, I would say that, wouldn't I? But I mean, essentially,
it's interesting. I need to know.
Well, I mean, so let's look at taxation. In terms of the economy, what they want to do is to take the lowest paid out of tax completely, to raise the threshold for basic rate taxation up to 20,000. If you take all of those people out of tax completely, then that's a great thing. Also, there is, in terms of the way that they want to tax people, they believe that we need to actually reduce tax to have more money in people's pockets so they spend more.
So that will drive the economy.
I
that
know
will be a
about
driver.
the health policy because I wrote it. So it is considered. I think it will evolve because I think the NHS is now in such a terrible state, as we've seen. And I think what that poll shows you more than anything else is people are crying out for something different.
They are. They really are. And I feel sorry for people who voted for the Labour Party in the last election because they just didn't get the delivery that I don't think they were expecting. It's almost as if every was delivering that package and it's just not delivered.
They left it in a neighbour's garden.
Yeah.